दे रहे हैं ना?
Yeah, सुनाई दे रहा है. So friends, on behalf of My Retired Life Foundation, we extend to a very new initiative of MRL, and that is what we are christening as Satsang. If you really look into the English translation of the Satsang, it essentially means Sat means good, Sang means nearby proximity. It essentially means that in proximity with the good things, in companionship with the good people, in companion with the right things, in companion with the truth, in proximity with everything that is good. That's what essentially the word satsang means. In Hindu religion, there are other connotations also, that being with the God and so on and so forth. But here we are mainly talking about from a spiritual angle. So we thought that we would start this as a regular event of My Retired Life Foundation. The idea is that we should listen to some of the good words from the wise words from good people, wise people, and try to derive some of the values, the universal truth and the values which all of us are looking for. Maybe we try to find the purpose of our life also, and so on and so forth. So today is the first event, and this event is inaugurated by our own Uday Acharya ji, a Vedanta scholar, on a very, very important topic, and that is the logic of spirituality. We all talk about spirituality. So what is the rationale of spirituality? What is the logic of spirituality? So we are grateful to the Acharya ji for being with us over here. And thank you, sir. The floor is open to you.
Any satsang is started with a prayer. This is a Vedic prayer, which most of you are familiar with. Sahana avavato, sahana bhunakto. Om sahana avavato, sahana bhunakto, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Saha now avatu, Saha now bhunaktu. This is a prayer to the Lord, asking for grace, so that He protects us and He nourishes us. The grammar is in a dual. Dual is two. So two, when we say the two of us, now means the two of us. That includes the Guru and the Shishya. So may he protect us both. May he nourish us both. Saha viryam karavavahai. May we both put in effort equally for the purpose we have come for. Tejasvi now adhitam astu. May our learning be very enlightening. Ma vidvishavahai. May we not have Siddhantic Matabhed. Okay. May we not have mutual jealousy or enmity, etc. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. We ask for peace so that there can be a right atmosphere, which is very important for learning. This is the Vedic prayer. It comes in the Kathopanishad, which is a very significant Upanishad. It involves the story of Yama and Nachiketa. Nachiketa's young boy, he goes to Yama and asks for his blessings. When he went to Yamaloka, Yama was out of station. So 3 days, Nachiketa had to wait for him. When Yama came back, Yama said, "You have been waiting for me for 3 days without eating food, without drinking water. What is it so important that you have to discuss with me?" And you are a young boy, only 8 years old. I'm very impressed by your dedication and purpose. I bless you with 3 boons for the 3 nights that you have stayed here. Please ask for 3 boons. Now, the very fact that Nachiketa is meeting Yama means that his lifespan is over. So Nachiketa asks, please reverse my lifespan so that I can live as before with my father. The second boon, he says that I've heard that there is a place called heaven. In heaven, there is no sorrow. There is a lot of freedom, and many people are dying to visit that place. So please tell me, how can anyone, through a simple way, reach heaven? Yama was happy, and he taught Nachiketa a ritual which can help a person to go to Swargaloka. The third boon Nachiketa asked for is, I want to know what is beyond death. Yama says, do not ask this question because it is not for a young boy like you to know. It is not your age to think about death and beyond. Ask for any other boon, I will give it to you. Nachiketa, even though a young boy, he was mature beyond his years. And he says, what can you give me, Yama? You can give me a long life, which is already assured by the first boon. You can give me a place in heaven, which again is already assured by the second boon. You have taught me the ritual by which I can go to heaven. Therefore, what more do I require? I don't want anything else. I want to know what is beyond death. Now, generally, when we think about beyond death, the Veda says there is life beyond death. You have to take many lives in order to realize the truth of yourself. This life is just a journey. We come into this world, we visit this world, and we depart. We do not belong to this world, we just visit this. And our actual destination is somewhere else. Nachiketa said, I don't want to know what is after death. I want to know what is beyond death. So he clarifies his question. Please tell me, what is beyond dharma, beyond adharma? What is beyond karma, beyond akarma? What is beyond the past, present, and future? Yama, whatever you see is a truth behind all this. I want to know that truth. Yama was very impressed and he said, I never seen a boy like you who have been asking such mature questions. You are clever because by the first and second boon, you got everything that I could give you. The third boon is something that cannot be given. It has to be taught. The third boon is about beyond death. Beyond death means beyond birth and beyond death. Okay, that is the topic of the Upanishad. This topic is covered in the Kathopanishad as well as all other Upanishads also.
I'm not television as well.
Yes, आपको सुनाई दे रहे हैं?
Yeah, please go ahead, sir. There was some disturbance. Please go ahead, sir.
Okay. So Yama says the teaching that is beyond death is called as Om. Om is the beginning of creation. Om is the end of creation. Everything comes from Om. Everything goes back into Om. That Om is the highest reality. And that Om is also the relative reality. The highest reality is something that has to be known. The relative reality is something that has to be invoked. So Om has two aspects, the higher and the lower. The higher is to be known, the lower is to be worshipped. So Om is an alambanam. It is an altar which you meditate on in order to reach the higher worlds. And Om is also the reality of all the worlds. It is not a place, it is not a destination. It is a reality of all places, all destinations. As a reality of all places, all destinations, it is here and now. And if it is here and now, if you know what it is all about, you are released from all sorrow right here, right now. If you don't know this reality before you die, then you've wasted a human life. You've wasted a human life because it is only in the human life that you have an opportunity to learn. You have an opportunity to go upwards or to go downwards. In all other worlds, you're only experiencing either joy, or only sorrow. When you go to the higher worlds, you experience more of joy. You don't have a choice. You just keep experiencing. And at the end of your period of stay, you have to come back to this world. When you go to the lower worlds of dukkha, you don't have much of a choice. You just have to go through the experiences. And once your stay there is over, again you come back to this world. This world is where you make it or you waste it. You can make your human life fulfilled, or you can waste your human life. We are talking about the logic of spirituality. Spirituality talks about things that you cannot figure out on your own. On your own, with your eyes and ears, you can figure out a lot of things. You can keep learning about the world and become successful. There are enough people who are ahead of you, who are successful, who can teach you how to live your life. And there are enough examples of people who have messed up their life for you to learn from. So you can learn from successful people, you can learn from failures, how not to be a failure. All this, you can use your eyes, your ears, and your brain. Spirituality says there is something much more that you cannot figure out on your own. Your vision about yourself is you exist from the time you are born to the time you die. If you go to any cemetery, you'll find gravestones there marking the presence of the dead person. One of the stones says, Clive D'Souza, born 1930, died 2003. Okay, so this is the whole history of Clive D'Souza, born 1930, died 2006. So these two years are inscribed. His name is there, loving father and faithful husband and dedicated churchgoer. 1930-2006. Did I say 5 or 6? I'm not sure. Your whole life is represented by these three figures, 1930-2006. What it means is you were born in 1930 and you dashed towards your death in 2006. Right? So that dash is your life. Our vision of ourselves is generally this gap between these two years. Spirituality says you have to think beyond that. Especially in our Hindu religion, we talk about before, we talk about after. And Lord Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita says, there was no time when you were not before. There will be no time when you are not later. That means you existed before 1930. You exist beyond 2006. And of course, you exist in between. That means you are not a mortal. You are an immortal who is appearing in this world as a mortal. So there are two versions of yourself. You are a mortal. You are not a mortal. A nice way to see these two different aspects of yourself is to look at yourself when you are 2-year-old. You have a nice photograph in which you have such a sweet smile and you are posing with your birthday gifts and everybody was congratulating you. Happy birthday to you. That was a very happy moment. And now you look at yourself. You've recently taken a photograph in which your hairs are gray and your forehead is wrinkled. You are an MRL member. Maybe you're 62 or less or more. Now you look at that photograph and say to your grandchild, you know what? This was how I looked when I was your age. And that child looks at you with wonder and says, Grandpa, I don't think that is you. It is not you. Why? Because you are with this gray hair, with the wrinkles on your forehead. And of course, that child is so small and you are so tall. And grandpa happily says, "Nay, beta, one day you will become like me. Right now you are 2 years, but one day you'll become like me. I was like you so many years back. Now that photograph is actually me." And the child says, "It is not you." How do you resolve this issue? You resolve the issue by saying, there are two versions of myself. One is the aging person who was a child who has become old now. And there is another one who is ageless. This ageless person is not available for any transaction. You transact only with the aging person. The aging person is born, is subject to death, is subject to pain, is subject to joy, is subject to interaction with other similar human beings. This is the aging person. This is what the Shastra calls as the Jivatma. You are the Jivatma, you are the aging person, subject to birth and death. There is another version of yourself which is called as a Shuddhatma or the Paramatma. You are the ageless person. As an ageless person, you are untouched by what is happening right from your childhood to your old age. Even though you have changed physically, mentally, emotionally, in different ways you have changed, but as the core ageless person, you are always the same. That you does not involve in transaction. That you holds the different yous together. The one who holds all this changing yous. So there's a 2-year-old, there's a 12-year-old, 22-year-old, 32, 42, 52, 62. There are so many of yous. They are all held together by one central entity, that is the ageless you. अपने आप को पहचानो, अपने आप को संसार से मुक्ति दिला दो. Okay, the Shastra says knowledge is freedom. This is the topic of Vedanta. Vedanta is all about knowing yourself. अपने आप को जानो, अपने आप को सुधारो, अपने आप को मुक्त करो संसार के दुखों से और अपने आप को पूर्णता रूप से gain fulfillment. Yeah, so this is the first logic of the Shastra, that life does not stop here, life continues. This may be the reason why nobody wants to die, everybody wants to live forever. Nobody wants to die because death is not my nature. Existence is my nature. If you look at any human being, these are the three things that a person looks for. I want to live for a day more. I want to know what is happening around me. And I want to live happily. I want to live a day more. I don't want to die because death doesn't seem to be my nature. I protest. What is my nature, I will gladly accept. What is not my nature, I go through it in protest. Look at Lord Rama. He stands with a bow. Okay. This bow is usually unstrung. It is unstrung because there should be no tension in the bow when it is not in use. When you are using the bow, you string the bow. When you string the bow, there is tension in the bow. Why is there tension in the bow? Because the bow is bent beyond its natural shape. When it is bent beyond its natural shape, it goes out of shape. When it goes out of shape, there is tension in the string. When the string is cut, the bow goes back to its original shape, and then there is no tension. This is how we all deal with our lives. Our life is full of tension because that is not our natural state. We are struggling with life because change is not our natural nature. We struggle against change. Sometime, of course, we look forward to change. Okay? But even when we look forward to change, once that change comes, we always want something different. We always want something more. We don't want to remain as we are. We always want to transform. We want to grow. We want to change. Because as we are not comfortable. Because our human nature is something that we cannot be totally fully accepting. We want change. And as human beings, we have got the capacity to change. So we can wish for change, we can will for change, we can work for change, we can also pray for change. That is a human nature. But in and through all this, there is a silent tension because change is not our nature. Our nature happens to be eternally changeless. So that aspect of myself, the timeless, changeless self, is what I am comfortable with. That is why when I go to sleep, I drop all my roles. I am just with myself. When I'm with myself, I am fully comfortable because that seems to be my nature. When there are no agendas for me, when everything is put aside, when I am just with myself, I am totally comfortable. This is the logic for meditation also. In meditation, I drop all my roles. I am not a professional when I meditate. I am not a father or a mother. I am not a job seeker or an employer. I am not an Indian or a foreigner. I am just simply myself. When I am simply myself, I feel comfortable. And that self is what the Bhagavad Gita says is the eternal. You are eternal. You are not between 1932 to 2006. You are before, you are after. You never stopped existing. You will never stop existing. You will always exist at all times. This is because your nature is existence. You are Sat. Again, nobody wants ignorance. Everybody wants to be informed. That is because we cannot stand ignorance. It is not our nature. It is not our nature. We always want to overcome ignorance. Because ignorance is something foreign and knowledge is something which is Swarupam. The Shastra says, knowledge happens to be your nature. You are the conscious being who is the source of all knowledge. And of course, dukkha nobody wants because it is alien to you. Everybody struggles against dukkha. Everybody is comfortable with joy because that happens to be your nature. You are Sat, you are Chit, you are Ananda. Okay. Why doesn't everyone work to fulfill themselves in terms of improving themselves and making their life better? Most people simply exist. They don't work for self-improvement. People just work to survive. Some people want to learn something more. And there are few people who just don't want to learn something more and get something more. They want to grow. They want to grow more. So there are two types of people. There are people who are focused on survival. Now, those people will compromise on everything in whatever way, hook or crook. I should get what I want. What I want is to survive in this world. So as long as I survive, I am successful. They live by the fear of death, the fear of poverty, the fear of sorrow. So they are just trying to manage their life so that they avoid that line of poverty. If I avoid that line of poverty, my life is okay. They're so focused on fear of poverty, on fear of death, on fear of unhappiness, that they are compromising with life and saying, I just want to avoid that line of poverty or whatever. There are other people who say that I would put this as poverty thinking. Poverty thinking people don't have time for higher things in life. They're just intent on survival. There are other people who are looking for growth. So they are the abundant thinkers. There is a lot of room for growth. I don't have to worry about survival because the world has enough for everyone. All I have to do is just to do the right things at the right time, and I will get abundant results. This is again the promise of spirituality. Spirituality says, if you keep doing the right thing at the right time, in the right way, you will get the right results. Now, who is telling me all this? This is the scriptures tell me that there is something called right and wrong. If you keep on doing the right things, you will get the right results. That results may not happen immediately. It may take time. Therefore, have faith. There is enough time and life is not cut short on death. Life continues beyond death. Therefore, if you keep doing the right things, in the long run, you will gain a better status for yourself. The problem with spirituality is many of us are short-term thinkers. Short-term thinkers, I, me, myself. Right now, I want fulfillment. I don't want to wait. I want it right now. Therefore, beg, borrow, or steal, I want to enjoy. This is what one of the Indian materialist philosophers of the past. He's called a Charvaka. He said, Yava Jivet Sukham Jivet. As long as you live happily. Rinam Kritva Ghritam Pibet. You should have rich food every day in your life. Never mind if you have to borrow money for that. Ghritam is ghee. Ghee represents rich food. So have rich food every day. Do not live in poverty. Learn to make yourself so rich that you can be happy. Bhasmi bhutasya dehasya punaragamanam kutaha. When this body dies away and becomes ashes, there is nobody to come back and say, I have to repay my loan. Okay, you take a loan and tell the other person, I'll pay you tomorrow. And every day you tell him, I'll pay you tomorrow. And the tomorrow never comes. Don't worry if the tomorrow comes. Who knows, you may not be there or that person may not be there. Therefore, enjoy when you can, because there is nothing beyond death. So this is called short-term thinking. In short-term thinking, we do a lot of compromises. When we have a long-term thinking, which spirituality tells us, we are willing to invest. And investment is something that we understand in business, but investment in spirituality is something more significant. Living a ethical life, people say it does not pay to be honest. People who are honest are taken advantage of, and if you're too honest, you may fall into trouble. Okay, especially when the income tax person comes, don't be too honest. Otherwise, you'll get into trouble. Or you have to pay for it. Honesty seems to be an expense. It seems to be a burden. If you think short term. Short term, I was honest and I returned this money to the other person. I promised and I returned the money. And after that, well, so I didn't have enough for myself. Therefore, I had to suffer. I was honest. Therefore, I did not take this money from the till as a cashier. There was so much money in front of me. I could easily put some notes in my pocket. I was honest. I did not take any bribe also. Because of that, my children could not get educated. Therefore, I suffered. So honesty seems to be more of a burden if you think in short term. When you think in long term, honesty and other ethical values, they are investment. So think investment, don't think expense. In today's world, when business is doing well, companies spend on advertising, companies spend on hiring people, companies spend on sponsorships, etc. When times are bad, companies cut on sponsorship, companies cut on employment, companies cut down on advertising. And worse is companies cut down on research and innovation. Okay. So in bad times, you require more research and innovation to survive the bad times. You require more advertisement in order to push your products. Okay. But this is where we cut our expenses because we think it is not an investment, it is an expense. The same thing with spirituality. We think spirituality is a burden. It is not an investment, it is an expense. Long-term thinking says, think positively. What you spend will come back to you. This is a cycle. The more you spend, the more you will receive. All this comes not from people who have figured it out. All this comes from the Shastras, which talk about things unknown to our human brain. Things unknown to our human brain. This is an area of the unknown. Think about it. If you are going to a new place, you will buy a guidebook or you will depend on your GPS and you will follow the GPS route, or you will ask questions on the way to the people around. What is the right road to take? All this you do because the area is unfamiliar to you, unknown to you. In an unknown place, you require a guide. The Shastra is a revelation that throws light about unknown areas. So where you don't know about a larger picture of life, the Shastra says there is a world beyond this world. Therefore, have trust. Trust will take you to places. There are other worlds which you can go to beyond death. For that, you have to invest. So when you invest in doing the right things at the right time, you will get the right result. Why is it that the scriptures talk about something more? From where did the scriptures get the information? We say the scriptures are revealed knowledge. The Vedas are revelations. They were revealed to the rishis. And this knowledge passed down to us from teacher to student. So where did I get this knowledge? I got it from my teacher. Where did my teacher get this knowledge? He got it from his or her teacher. So who was the first teacher who got this knowledge? Well, the first teacher, I wouldn't say was a human being. The first teacher should be the person who is the first father. If you ask me who is the first teacher, I can ask you who is your first father. Okay. If you say every father had a father, I would say yes, true, every teacher had a teacher. Therefore, who is the first teacher is the same as the one who is the first father. We do not know from where it has come. We attribute it to the creator. The creator is the one who has manifest this universe. So along with the manifesting of this universe, he has also manifest, you can say, a guidebook which helps you to move around in this universe. Again, spirituality says we are all connected. We are not independent and alone. The problem of modern life is we are all suffering stress because we do not have support systems. In earlier times, we had our families, our joint families. We had the entire village comes to support you in times of difficulty. In today's world, we have to rely on ourselves because we live in strange places. We keep on moving from one place to another. We keep on getting disconnected. Spirituality says we are all connected at a deeper level. In meditation, you move from the peripheral you who is changing. to the essential you who is changeless. Just like when you look at an iceberg, from the top, you find there are many icebergs in the sea. As you keep going deeper, you find they're all connected. They're all connected. In fact, there is no many, there's only one. One iceberg at a deeper level, on the superficial level, seems to be many different entities. You and I seem to be many different entities. We all seem to be disconnected, but we make effort to come together to avoid our loneliness, right? That is why we have social groups. And this wonderful group that we have, the MRL, is an attempt to come closer so that we can share our experiences, we can connect to each other, we can feel wanted, we can feel that we belong. This is the logic of spirituality. Spirituality tells you, you belong. You belong to the universe. You are not disconnected. You are one with the universe. As long as you have this trust, you're able to overcome your sorrows, your stress. When you lose this trust, you find life is nothing but sorrow. That is why you find many people going to drugs, many people going to alcohol, many people go into sex addiction, many people go into commit suicide. All this because of loneliness, we are disconnected. Spirituality says we are all connected at a deeper level. So have the trust, go deeper. This is what you do in meditation. In meditation, you come closer to your essential changeless self. And you find that changeless self is the ground reality of the entire universe. There's a book called The Alchemist. The Alchemist is this young boy who wants to do a lot of things. He wants to become successful. He wants to become rich. But instead of working for riches, somewhere he goes deeper into himself and says, riches should come to me. If I visualize the right things will come to me. And ultimately, this boy, so he got a lot of unknown treasures. So in fact, he's inviting riches with his positive thinking. So this is because we are all connected. The right things will come to you when you invoke the right things in the right way. So positive thinking will bring positive results. Conversely, negative thinking will bring in negative results. This is called the self-fulfilling belief. Right? I will end this talk with just a couple of examples. We recently saw the Wimbledon match, the 5-round match, in which Djokovic lost to a youngster. Every round, every set is a struggle. Okay, in the first set, you depend more on your service and your strength. When you come to the second set, your strength, you're used up. So you have to manage with your skill. Okay. In the third set, you're tired. Therefore, your skill also is not enough. You require your strength, you require your skill, you require something more. You require perseverance. You have to Stick to it. Don't give up. Stick to it. This is called self-trust. You have to stick to it until the game is over. Don't give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. This is also called willpower. In the fourth set, you find willpower also is not enough. Okay? You require prayer. You require prayer because I am in my last breath. I cannot go further. I need some miracle to happen. And in the last set, you find even miracles may not be enough for you. There is where you have to surrender. You have to surrender because maybe my time is over. Now it is the time for the next generation to take over. So this is the yatra that human beings take. You start with building up your resources. You start working for success. After some time, you hand over your responsibilities to the youngsters and you retire gracefully. When you retire gracefully, people say we should not retire, we should be active. Yes, that is true. We should not retire, we should be active. But then understand that activity is not for activity's sake. Okay? Time pass activities is okay for time pass if you don't have anything more important. What is more important is to see what next? What next? I have lived my life. What next? What next is answered by the call of spirituality. There is something much more. Make your life fulfilled and prepare for your next trip. Your trip is coming to an end. Now plan where to go from here. Okay, so that is a promise of spirituality. There's a lot more that we can talk of. Talking about this tennis match, think of yourself as playing a doubles match. You are playing a doubles match in which you are standing at the net and your creator is standing behind you and the baseline. Okay. So whatever balls that come to you that you can take, you take the balls. Whatever balls that you find it is passing you, you leave it to the Lord. What you can manage, you do with your effort. What is beyond your hands, you leave it to the guy behind you. Okay, so this is how life is played. We play a doubles match in which you and the Lord are partners. So he is partnering you and he takes care of you when you are unable to handle the situation. The issue comes when you find that sometimes you trust the person behind you so much and you find that he also leaves a ball. He also leaves a ball and then you get angry and ask him, what happened? Why didn't you take the shot? And the person behind you smiles and says, look, we are not playing a match now. We are doing training match. This is a training match. I'm not supposed to help you. I am supposed to train you to take the shots yourself. And also, if you cannot take the shots, somewhere learn to accept gracefully and say, well, I cannot win every match. I cannot win every match. Therefore, I have to have the grace to accept that loss. Okay. So every time failure happens to you, Look at the other fellow and say, good shot. I couldn't take the shot. It was a passing shot. And I hope for a miracle. If a miracle happens, I am grateful. If that miracle does not happen, I accept it gracefully. Because this is life. I cannot be protected at all times. I have to take the shots. And sometimes I have to learn to accept my defeats. So this is called good sportsmanship. Spirituality teaches you that life is just a sport. Learn to take it gracefully. When you win, be grateful. When you lose, accept gracefully. Yeah. Any questions? You can shoot. Maybe a few minutes. Sen Gupta ji.
Yeah, I think that was an excellent disposition of the spirituality. Mind-boggling thoughts.
Yeah.
We learned things, a lot of new ideas, a lot of ways of looking inside. So now the floor is open. Anybody wants to ask any question, you can unmute yourself.
आचार्य जी,
हाँ जी बोलिए.
माई सेल्फ आर के मोदी.
हाँ जी.
आपने बीच में कहा ऑनेस्टी, बट आई हैव सीन इंस्टेड ऑफ रिवार्डिंग ऑनेस्टी it is always punished. I am sufferer of that. So how do you take this in the life?
Okay. When you're talking about suffering, honesty is not meant for profit. Please understand. Honesty is not meant for profit. Okay. Honesty is meant for something else. For profit, you make wiser investments. You probably you have to organize your life in such a way that you work for profits. Okay. Honesty is not for profits. Honesty is for something else. That something else is what we talk about as a long term. Maybe that topic we should deal with in another session. I'll just give you an example. You are driving a car, right? And you want to reach from Bombay to Pune, maybe in 2.5 hours or 2 hours from New Bombay. And you are pressing the accelerator because you want to go faster and faster, right? And you notice the car also has got a brake. Why do you use a brake? If you want to go faster, you should press the accelerator. But why do you use a brake? You're stopping your speed, right?
Correct.
Why should you curb your speed? Why don't you use the accelerator all the way? Think about it. The brake is meant for something else. Okay, brake is not meant for speed. Accelerator is meant for speed. Honesty is not meant for profit. For profit, other things are there. Honesty is meant for something else. So think of honesty as an investment. Don't think of it as an expense. Brake is an investment. Okay, brake is not a bad bargain. Brake is an investment. Okay, it is not an expense. Insurance is an investment. It is not an expense. Right? Advertising is an investment. It is not an expense. So recalibrate your logic.
See, Acharya ji, okay, fine. But in my case, the honesty was not for profit. It was my due right, which was not given to me. But later on, of course, after 8-10 years, it was materialized. But I have to suffer for 8-10 years. Why it is so?
True. So shall we reserve this topic for another time?
Okay. No,
It's a long,
no problem.
It's a long thing. Yes.
No problem. Because it's due to out of past.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Acharya.
Any other questions?
Any question?
Yeah, what is the exact difference between a prayer and a meditation?
Prayer and meditation.
I
Somebody,
mean, is prayer at a higher level or meditation at a higher level?
it is both ways. In our tradition, we have two types of logic. One is a cat logic, other is a monkey logic. Okay. The cat logic says the mother will come and pick up the child. The monkey logic says the child has to hold on to the mother. Okay. So when you hold on to the mother, so you are praying. You pray and hold on to Bhagwan. And when you're meditating, you're asking Bhagwan to take care of you. So Bhagwan will come, you meditate, and Bhagwan will take care of you. This simplistic logic. Another logic that I heard from is prayer is talking to God, and meditation is listening to God. In meditation, you listen. In prayer, you ask. Okay, so both are necessary, both are higher only. I wouldn't say one is higher than the other.
So is there a superiority between prayer and meditation? Or is it, can we say that meditation is superior or prayer is superior?
No. They're all the same level. They are all spiritual. They're all spiritual. Everything leads to, one thing leads to another. Okay, it's not higher or lower. It is all in the same level. But one supports the other. One supports the other. Yeah.
Anyone last question? Any last question? I think people are still thinking. So they will ask questions in the next session. So I
Okay.
think, Uday Acharya ji, it was an excellent mind-boggling session, as I talked about. We're indeed grateful to you for opening our mind, for opening our thinking process, so that our journey towards spirituality becomes what do you call? At least it can start. At least for those of us who are, for me at least, I've not started. So probably for people like me, probably we can start the journey towards spirituality. Thanks a lot for enlightening all of us. Many thanks to you, sir.
Okay. Namaste. Namaste, everyone.
Thank you, Acharya ji.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so
Yes.
much.
We'll conclude with a prayer again. Om Swasti Prajabhyah Paripalayantam Nyayena Margena Mahimmaishaah Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam Loka Samasta Sukhino Bhavantu Kale Varshatu Parjanyah Prithvi Sasya Shalini Desho Yam Shobharahitah Brahmana Santu Nirbhayaah Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah Sarve Santu Niramayah Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet Asato Ma Satkamaya Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya Mrityor Ma Mritangamaya Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Namaste. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thanks a lot.
sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Welcome.
Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
Yes. Nice to hear some familiar voices.
Yeah. Yeah.